The Tonight Show stage glowed under the bright lights as Mark Wahlberg took his seat opposite Jimmy Fallon. The audience roared with excitement, expecting jokes and lighthearted banter. But from the very first question, something felt off. Jimmy teased Mark about a recent movie role, joking about his tough guy persona. Normally, Mark laughed such things off. But that night, exhaustion and stress from a grueling shoot weighed heavy on him. "Is that all you see me as?" Mark said sharply. The audience chuckled nervously, unsure if it was part of the act. Jimmy, caught off guard, tried to joke again, but it landed wrong. The tension thickened. Mark leaned forward, visibly upset. "You don't know what I go through. You just laugh." Silence fell. The band stopped playing. Then, without another word, Mark stood, removed his mic, and walked off the stage. The audience gasped. Social media exploded within minutes. Clips went viral. Headlines screamed, "Mark Wahlberg walks out on Jimmy Fallon live." But behind that dramatic exit was a man who wasn't angry at jokes. He was fighting something deeper. Something no one knew. Hours later, Mark sat alone in his hotel room, staring at the city lights. To the world, he was a strong, unshakable star. But privately, he carried a weight no one could see. His mother had been in the hospital for weeks. His schedule left him sleepless. And every interview lately felt like an act he couldn't keep up anymore. That night on Fallon's show wasn't about a joke. It was about a man reaching his breaking point. Jimmy, meanwhile, was also shaken. "Did I push too far?" he asked his producers backstage. Unlike what the headlines suggested, Jimmy wasn't cruel. He simply didn't realize how fragile Mark had felt that night. Later, as Mark scrolled through social media, he saw strangers mocking him. "Can't take a joke, too sensitive." But hidden in the comments was one from a young veteran. "Mark, your movies kept me going during my lowest days. Don't let them break you. You've inspired more people than you know." Mark froze. He'd been so consumed by what went wrong, he forgot what he meant to others. That comment planted a seed. A reminder. Sometimes, even strong people need help. And admitting pain isn't weakness, it's courage. The next morning, Jimmy Fallon went live on Instagram. "Last night wasn't how I wanted things to go," he said. "Mark, if you're watching, come back. Let's talk. No jokes. Just real." Mark saw the video. For a moment, he hesitated. Pride told him to ignore it. But then he remembered that veteran's comment. "You've inspired more people than you know." He called Jimmy. Hours later, the two met privately in a quiet NBC lounge. There were no cameras, no audience, just two men. "I shouldn't have joked about that," Jimmy said first. "I didn't know." Mark shook his head. "I shouldn't have snapped. I've been carrying a lot." They sat in silence for a while, and Jimmy finally asked, "What's going on?" Mark told him about his mom's health, his exhaustion, and the pressure to always be tough. Jimmy listened, really listened, and then said, "You don't have to be funny or strong all the time. You're allowed to just be human." That night, they decided to do something different, together. Not for ratings, not for headlines, for people like that veteran, who needed hope more than gossip. A week later, Mark returned to The Tonight Show, not for a normal interview, but for a live, heartfelt conversation. The studio lights were softer. The audience was quiet. Jimmy started, "Last week, we had a moment the world saw. Tonight, we want to share what they didn't." Mark spoke openly about mental health, pressure, and grief. "Even when you're successful, you can feel alone," he said. "Asking for help isn't weakness." Then Jimmy surprised everyone. "We've partnered with Mark to create a fund for veterans and families struggling silently. Every dollar raised tonight will go to them." The audience erupted in applause. Viewers at home began donating instantly. Within minutes, the fundraiser hit thousands, then millions. Backstage, producers cried. Viewers tweeted, "This is what humanity looks like." Mark looked at Jimmy, his eyes wet. "I almost let one bad night make me bitter. Thank you for reminding me. Compassion is stronger than pride." For the first time in weeks, Mark smiled. A real smile. Months later, that one viral, "walk off" clip was no longer remembered as a scandal. It became the start of something bigger. The "Stronger Together" Fund they launched saved hundreds of veterans from homelessness, helped families with medical bills, and started a national conversation about emotional struggles. Mark visited a rehab center funded by the donations. A young man there said, "I saw you admit you were struggling. It gave me courage to get help." Mark realized then, the night he thought ruined him, actually gave his life deeper purpose. As for Jimmy, he told his audience, "We learned something. Even in a world obsessed with drama, kindness can still trend." The once explosive moment had turned into a story of empathy, second chances, and using pain to help others. And every time Mark looked at his mom, now recovered, he whispered, "Sometimes life breaks you, just to rebuild you stronger." The world didn't just watch a celebrity fight. They watched two people choose compassion instead of ego. And that choice changed lives far beyond a TV stage.